That growing collection of hair in your brush, the thinning at your temples, it might be more than just aging. Could the relentless demands of modern life be unraveling your locks from within? The answer often lies in a tiny, powerful molecule, a silent saboteur when chronically elevated due to stress and lack of sleep: cortisol. This isn't just an abstract concern. It's a biological reality affecting millions, particularly women navigating the complex pressures of career, family, and personal well-being, who find their crowning glory diminishing strand by strand. Understanding this connection is the first step towards reclaiming not just your hair, but your overall vitality. Cortisol, often dubbed the stress hormone, is far more than a simple indicator of tension. It's a steroid hormone produced by the adrenal glands, small but mighty organs perched atop your kidneys. Its release is orchestrated by a sophisticated communication network known as the hypothalamic-pituitary-adrenal axis. Think of the hypothalamus in your brain as mission control, sensing threats or needs. It signals the pituitary gland, the master gland, which in turn instructs the adrenal glands to produce cortisol. This hormone plays a crucial role in a vast array of bodily functions, essential for our very survival. In acute situations, the classic fight or flight response, cortisol is a lifesaver. It floods your system to mobilize energy, increasing blood sugar for quick fuel, sharpening focus, and temporarily suppressing non-essential functions like digestion and immunity so you can confront or escape danger. It helps regulate blood pressure, reduce inflammation in the short term, and manage how your body uses carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Normally, cortisol levels follow a diurnal rhythm, highest in the morning to help you wake up, and gradually decreasing throughout the day, reaching their lowest point around midnight to allow for restful sleep. This natural ebb and flow is vital for maintaining homeostasis, the body's delicate internal balance. The problem arises when stress ceases to be an occasional, acute event and instead becomes a chronic, pervasive feature of our lives. Modern existence, with its relentless deadlines, financial pressures, information overload, and the constant juggling of responsibilities, can keep the HPA axis in a state of persistent activation. When your brain continuously perceives threat, whether it's a looming work project, a difficult relationship, or even the constant barrage of negative news, it keeps signaling for cortisol release. This sustained demand leads to chronically elevated cortisol levels, disrupting its natural rhythm. Instead of a morning peak followed by a gentle decline, cortisol might remain stubbornly high throughout the day, or even spike erratically. Compounding this issue is the pervasive problem of sleep deprivation. Sleep is not a luxury, it's a biological necessity during which the body repairs, regenerates, and resets its hormonal balance. Insufficient sleep, or poor quality sleep, is itself a significant physiological stressor. It directly impacts the HPA axis, often leading to higher cortisol levels the next day, particularly in the afternoon and evening when they should be low. This creates a vicious cycle. Stress disrupts sleep, and lack of sleep exacerbates the stress response and further elevates cortisol. Imagine trying to run a complex machine, your body, with the emergency systems constantly engaged and never allowing it proper downtime for maintenance. Eventually, parts start to wear out and systems begin to malfunction. Chronically high cortisol can lead to a cascade of negative health consequences: impaired immune function, weight gain, especially around the abdomen, digestive issues, mood disorders like anxiety and depression, cardiovascular problems, and, significantly for our discussion, it can wreak havoc on your hair. The journey of a single hair is a cyclical one, comprising distinct phases. The anagen phase is the active growth period, where cells in the hair follicle rapidly divide and the hair shaft lengthens. This phase can last anywhere from 2 to 7 years, determining the maximum length of your hair. Next is the catagen phase, a short transitional period of about 2 to 3 weeks, where hair growth stops and the follicle shrinks slightly. Finally, the telogen phase, a resting period lasting around 3 to 4 months, during which the hair remains in the follicle but doesn't grow. At the end of this phase, the hair is shed. This is the exogen phase, often considered part of telogen, and a new hair begins to grow from the follicle, restarting the anagen phase. Normally, about 85 to 90% of your scalp hairs are in the anagen phase, with the remainder in catagen or telogen. This balance ensures a full head of hair, with daily shedding of 50 to 100 hairs being perfectly normal. However, chronically elevated cortisol levels throw a wrench into this meticulously orchestrated cycle. One of the most direct impacts is its ability to prematurely push a significantly larger number of hair follicles from the active anagen phase into the resting telogen phase. This condition, known as telogen effluvium, is a common form of diffuse hair thinning. Instead of a gradual, almost imperceptible shedding, you might notice a sudden increase in hair fall, particularly when washing or brushing your hair, often appearing a few months after a period of intense stress or significant sleep disruption. The hair doesn't fall out immediately when cortisol spikes. Rather, the follicles are signaled to shut down growth prematurely, and then, after the typical telogen resting period, these hairs are shed in mass. Cortisol doesn't just affect the timing of the cycle, it can also influence the health and regenerative capacity of the hair follicle itself. Research suggests that high levels of glucocorticoids, the class of hormones to which cortisol belongs, can inhibit the proliferation of hair follicle stem cells. These stem cells are crucial for initiating new hair growth and maintaining the follicle's vitality. If their activity is suppressed, the follicle may struggle to produce new, healthy hairs, or it might produce thinner, weaker hairs. Furthermore, chronic stress and elevated cortisol can promote a state of low-grade inflammation throughout the body, including around the hair follicles. This perifollicular inflammation can damage the follicle and impede hair growth. Cortisol can also constrict blood vessels, potentially reducing blood flow to the scalp. Reduced circulation means less oxygen and fewer nutrients reaching the hair follicles, starving them of the essential building blocks they need for robust growth. The intricate interplay of hormones means that cortisol's impact isn't isolated. It can influence other hormonal pathways critical for hair health, such as thyroid hormones and sex hormones, creating a complex web of factors contributing to hair thinning. Consider Sarah, a 38-year-old marketing executive. For years, she thrived on pressure, juggling demanding projects, late nights, and the constant ping of her smartphone. Her sleep was often fragmented, a few snatched hours here and there. She prided herself on her resilience, but gradually she noticed more hair in her shower drain. Her ponytail felt thinner. Initially, she dismissed it as a consequence of getting older. But when her hairdresser gently pointed out visible thinning at her crown, Sarah felt a pang of real distress. The realization dawned that her high-stress lifestyle, which she wore as a badge of honor, was exacting a tangible toll. Or take Maria, a new mother at 32. The joy of her baby was immense, but so was the exhaustion. Sleepless nights, the hormonal roller coaster of postpartum recovery, and the overwhelming responsibility of caring for a newborn created a perfect storm of stress. A few months after giving birth, she was horrified to see clumps of hair falling out. While some postpartum hair loss is normal due to estrogen shifts, Maria's was compounded by profound sleep deprivation and the emotional strain, leading to significantly elevated cortisol that exacerbated the shedding far beyond what might have been typical. Then there's Emily, 45, who found herself sandwiched between caring for her aging parents and managing her teenage children, all while trying to maintain her part-time job. The constant worry, the feeling of being pulled in multiple directions, and the lack of time for herself led to a persistent low-level anxiety. Her sleep became erratic. She started noticing her hair part widening, a subtle but deeply unsettling change that added another layer of stress to her already burdened life. These scenarios, though fictionalized, mirror the real experiences of countless individuals who find their hair health silently eroding under the weight of chronic stress and insufficient rest. The connection isn't always immediate or obvious, making it easy to overlook until the thinning becomes undeniable and distressing. Women, in particular, may find themselves more vulnerable to this stress-cortisol hair loss axis due to a confluence of biological and societal factors. The postpartum period, as illustrated by Maria's story, is a prime example. The dramatic drop in estrogen levels after childbirth naturally shifts many hairs into the telogen phase. Add to this the profound sleep deprivation that almost universally accompanies new parenthood and the emotional and physical stress of caring for an infant, and cortisol levels can skyrocket. This hormonal and stress-induced double whammy can lead to a more pronounced and prolonged period of hair shedding, known as postpartum telogen effluvium, causing significant anxiety for new mothers already navigating a challenging life transition. Perimenopause and menopause represent another period of heightened vulnerability. As estrogen levels decline and fluctuate erratically during this transition, women can experience a range of symptoms, including hot flashes, mood swings, and sleep disturbances, all of which are potent stressors. The body's sensitivity to cortisol can also change during this time. For some women, the relative increase in androgens, male hormones, which women also produce in small amounts, compared to declining estrogen, can unmask or exacerbate female pattern hair loss, a genetic condition. However, the chronic stress and sleep disruption common in midlife can independently elevate cortisol, further contributing to diffuse hair thinning that compounds any underlying genetic predisposition. Beyond these distinct life stages, the chronic mental load disproportionately carried by many women is a significant, often invisible, source of sustained stress. This refers to the cognitive effort involved in managing a household, organizing family schedules, remembering birthdays, anticipating needs, and often worrying about the well-being of loved ones. This relentless background hum of responsibility, even if not always perceived as acute stress, can keep the HPA axis subtly activated, leading to persistently higher cortisol levels over time. Women are also more likely to experience certain autoimmune conditions, some of which can affect hair, and stress is a known trigger or exacerbator for autoimmunity. The societal pressures related to appearance can also mean that hair loss is often more psychologically devastating for women than for men, creating a feedback loop where the anxiety about hair loss itself becomes another stressor, potentially worsening the problem. The good news is that if chronic stress, sleep deprivation, and consequently elevated cortisol are contributing to your hair loss, there is much you can do. Addressing these root causes involves a holistic approach, focusing on lifestyle modifications, stress management, improved sleep hygiene, targeted nutrition, and potentially the support of natural adaptogens. These strategies are not quick fixes, but rather sustainable changes that promote overall well-being, with healthier hair being a welcome outcome. The cornerstone of lowering cortisol and supporting hair health is effective stress management. This doesn't mean eliminating stress entirely, an impossible feat, but rather changing your response to it and building resilience. Mindfulness practices such as meditation and mindful breathing are powerful tools. Even 10 to 15 minutes of daily meditation can help calm the nervous system, reduce rumination, and lower cortisol levels. Simple deep breathing exercises, inhaling slowly through the nose, holding for a few counts, and exhaling slowly through the mouth can be done anywhere, anytime to instantly interrupt a stress response. Activities like yoga and Tai Chi combine physical movement with mindful awareness and breath work, offering a holistic way to reduce tension and improve mental clarity. Spending time in nature, often referred to as forest bathing or ecotherapy, has been scientifically shown to lower cortisol, reduce blood pressure, and improve mood. Regular physical activity is another potent stress reliever, but it's a matter of finding the right balance. Moderate exercise like brisk walking, swimming, or cycling can lower cortisol, but overly intense or prolonged exercise, especially if you're already depleted, can sometimes have the opposite effect. Listen to your body. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can be extremely helpful in identifying and reframing negative thought patterns that contribute to chronic stress and anxiety. Learning to set boundaries, saying no to excessive commitments, and delegating tasks are also crucial aspects of managing your overall stress load. Intimately linked to stress management is prioritizing sleep hygiene. Restorative sleep is when your body actively works to lower cortisol and repair cellular damage. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. Establish a consistent sleep schedule, going to bed and waking up around the same time each day, even on weekends, to regulate your body's natural sleep-wake cycle or circadian rhythm. Create a sleep-conducive environment. Your bedroom should be cool, dark, quiet, and comfortable. Invest in blackout curtains, earplugs, or a white noise machine if needed. Develop a relaxing pre-bedtime routine to signal to your body that it's time to wind down. This might include a warm bath, perhaps with Epsom salts, which are rich in magnesium, a mineral that aids relaxation. Reading a physical book, not on a backlit screen, gentle stretching, or listening to calming music. Crucially, limit exposure to blue light from electronic devices, smartphones, tablets, computers, and televisions for at least an hour or two before bed, as blue light suppresses melatonin production, the hormone that signals sleep. Avoid heavy meals, caffeine, and alcohol close to bedtime. Caffeine is a stimulant that can stay in your system for many hours, and while alcohol might initially make you feel drowsy, it disrupts sleep architecture, leading to poorer quality, fragmented sleep later in the night. If you struggle with racing thoughts when you try to sleep, keep a journal by your bed to write down worries or to-do lists before turning out the light, effectively downloading them from your mind. Your diet plays a significant role in how your body manages stress and in the health of your hair. A nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory diet can support hormonal balance and provide the building blocks for hair growth. Focus on whole, unprocessed foods, plenty of colorful fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. Certain nutrients are particularly vital for hair health. Iron deficiency, especially low ferritin, the stored form of iron, is a common cause of hair loss in women. Include iron-rich foods like lean red meat, poultry, fish, lentils, spinach, and fortified cereals. Vitamin C enhances iron absorption, so pair iron-rich foods with vitamin C sources like citrus fruits, bell peppers, or strawberries. Zinc is another crucial mineral for hair tissue growth and repair. Good sources include oysters, beef, pumpkin seeds, and lentils. Biotin, a B vitamin, is often marketed for hair growth, and while deficiency is rare, ensuring adequate intake through foods like eggs, nuts, seeds, and sweet potatoes is beneficial. Protein is the primary structural component of hair, so ensure you're consuming enough high-quality protein from sources like fish, chicken, beans, tofu, and Greek yogurt. Omega-3 fatty acids found in fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts have anti-inflammatory properties and can support scalp health. Vitamin D deficiency is widespread and has been linked to hair loss. Sensible sun exposure and foods like fatty fish, fortified dairy or plant milks, and egg yolks can help, but supplementation might be necessary for many based on blood test results. Beyond specific nutrients for hair, consider foods that help manage cortisol. Complex carbohydrates like whole grains, sweet potatoes, and legumes can help stabilize blood sugar and may have a calming effect, potentially buffering cortisol. Magnesium-rich foods like dark leafy grains, nuts, seeds, and dark chocolate, in moderation, can support relaxation and sleep. Conversely, try to limit processed foods, sugary drinks, excessive caffeine, and trans fats, as these can contribute to inflammation and blood sugar imbalances, potentially exacerbating stress and negatively impacting hair health. Staying well hydrated by drinking plenty of water is also fundamental for overall cellular function, including that of hair follicles. When lifestyle adjustments aren't quite enough, or to provide additional support, certain supplements and herbal adaptogens may be considered, Always in consultation with a healthcare professional like a doctor, naturopath, or registered dietitian, especially if you have underlying health conditions or are taking medications. If blood tests reveal deficiencies in iron, vitamin D, or zinc, targeted supplementation can correct these and support hair regrowth. An important class of herbs known as adaptogens can be particularly helpful in modulating the body's stress response and, by extension, helping to normalize cortisol levels. Ashwagandha, Withania somnifera, is perhaps one of the most well-studied adaptogens for stress and cortisol reduction. It's believed to help calm the nervous system and support adrenal health. Rhodiola rosa is another popular adaptogen known for its ability to enhance resilience to stress, combat fatigue, and improve mental performance. Holy basil, tulsi, is revered in Ayurvedic medicine for its stress-relieving and cortisol-balancing properties. It also possesses antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. These adaptogens don't simply suppress cortisol, they help the body adapt more efficiently to stressors, promoting balance in the HPA axis. They are generally considered safe for most people when used appropriately, but quality and dosage vary, and they can interact with certain medications, so professional guidance is essential. Other non-invasive strategies can also support scalp and hair health. Regular scalp massage, for example, can increase blood flow to the hair follicles, delivering more nutrients and oxygen, and it can also be a relaxing ritual to reduce stress. Use gentle, circular motions with your fingertips for a few minutes daily. Be mindful of your hair care practices. Avoid harsh chemical treatments, excessive heat styling, and tight hairstyles that pull on the follicles, traction alopecia. Use gentle, sulfate-free shampoo and a nourishing conditioner. When detangling, use a wide-tooth comb, especially when hair is wet and more fragile. Finally, don't underestimate the power of emotional and social support. Sharing your concerns with trusted friends, family, or a support group can alleviate feelings of isolation and stress. If stress, anxiety, or low mood are persistent and overwhelming, seeking help from a mental health professional, such as a therapist or counselor, can provide invaluable tools and strategies for coping. Similarly, if hair loss is significant or concerning, consulting a dermatologist or a trichologist, a specialist in hair and scalp disorders, is crucial for an accurate diagnosis. They can rule out other potential causes of hair loss, such as thyroid disorders, autoimmune conditions like alopecia areata or androgenetic alopecia, and recommend appropriate medical treatments if necessary. Even if stress is identified as a primary contributor, a professional can help monitor your progress and offer guidance. Reclaiming your hair health when it's been compromised by chronic stress and sleep deprivation is a journey, not an overnight transformation. It requires patience, consistency, and a compassionate commitment to your own well-being. Viewing stress reduction and sleep improvement not merely as chores, but as essential acts of self-care can be profoundly empowering. These are not just strategies to get your hair back, they are pathways to a more vibrant, balanced, and resilient life. When you nurture your internal environment, calming the storm of chronic cortisol, you create the conditions not only for healthier hair to flourish, but for your entire being to thrive. Take heart in knowing that you have the power to influence these factors, to soothe your nervous system, to replenish your energy, and, in doing so, to encourage those precious strands to grow strong and full once more. Your hair is often a reflection of your inner state. By tending to your well-being from the inside out, you are not just addressing a symptom, but fostering a deeper, more sustainable harmony within yourself. This journey is an invitation to listen to your body, honor its needs, and rediscover the vitality that is your birthright, with a healthier, happier head of hair as one of its most visible and rewarding expressions.